75,000-year-old Neanderthal skull made up of more than 100 fragments of bone has been painstakingly put back together.
In a limestone cave above a French river, a single fossilized tooth waited quietly beneath layers of Ice Age silt. When scientists extracted its ancient DNA, they didn't just revive a Neanderthal's identity, they uncovered a hidden bloodline, untouched for 50,000 years. What they found would not only rewrite prehistory, but challenge the very idea of extinction itself. The final tooth in the puzzle. Tucked into the pale limestone cliffs of France's Rhône Valley, Grotte Mandrin has long stood watch over the winding river below. This shallow cave, shaped by wind and time, once sheltered ancient hunters, its south-facing entrance catching the winter sun, its walls holding secrets from a forgotten world. For archaeologists, it was a place of possibility. But in 2015, it became something more. That year, a team led by Ludovic Slimak uncovered something extraordinary. A cluster of Neanderthal teeth and bone fragments pressed into a shallow depression at the cave's entrance. Their location, in a layer just beneath where modern human tools begin to appear, signaled a turning point in the valley's deep timeline. This wasn't just another fossil. It was the most complete Neanderthal dental collection found in France since the 1970s. And one of those teeth, a worn molar from a male individual nicknamed Rhône, would soon become the subject of global fascination. 31 teeth in total, some ground down from decades of chewing sinew and root, others chipped by Ice Age grit. One stood out, a supernumerary molar, a rare genetic quirk. But hidden inside the pulp of that tooth lay something far more valuable than enamel. The last intact genetic fingerprint of a forgotten lineage, the science of resurrection. In the sterile glow of the ancient DNA lab, even a stray breath could ruin everything. Scientists worked in full-body suits, sealed from the outside world. Ultraviolet lights bathed the counters. Airlocks guarded each room. Every tool was sterilized between steps, because inside one of Rhône's molars was a chance to resurrect the genetic code of a Neanderthal who died over 40,000 years ago. The team selected a molar and used a precision drill to access the pulp chamber, deep inside, protected from time and decay. This was the vault. Blood vessels, nerves, and perhaps even remnants of ancient cells had once lived here. From that powdery pulp, researchers extracted DNA fragments, broken and fragile, yet untouched by modern contamination. Most ancient DNA is a chaotic mixture: bacteria, fungi, trace contaminants from the soil. But Rhône's sample was different. The proportion of authentic Neanderthal DNA was remarkably high, a rare stroke of preservation that opened the door to a nearly complete genome sequence. Modern sequencing machines processed millions of fragments at once, and pattern recognition software began stitching the puzzle back together, base pair by base pair, revealing a genetic identity unseen in any other known Neanderthal. The results were double-checked, then verified by external labs. Even the cave sediment was tested to confirm that the dating was airtight. This wasn't an error or an illusion. It was a genuine, high-quality Neanderthal genome, one that didn't match anything researchers had seen before. Not in France, not in Croatia, not even in Siberia. Something had survived in Rhône that had vanished everywhere else. The ghost lineage emerges. When geneticists compared Rhône's DNA to their vast archive of Neanderthal genomes, the results defied every expectation. Instead of clustering with other late Neanderthals from France or Croatia, individuals who lived around the same time, Rhône's genome aligned with Neanderthals who had lived over 100,000 years earlier. His DNA echoed a deep past, long before the last glacial advances swept across Europe, long before Homo sapiens arrived. This wasn't a glitch. The sequencing was verified, the dating airtight, yet the paradox held. Rhône lived at the very end of the Neanderthal timeline, but genetically, he belonged to a chapter thought long closed. That contradiction led scientists to a single, stunning conclusion. His lineage had been isolated for nearly 50,000 years. In genetics, this kind of divergence is rare. It meant that while other Neanderthal groups moved, mixed, and evolved across Eurasia, Thorin's ancestors had remained cut off. They had followed their own genetic path, sealed away from the continent's shifting tides. No tools, no cave paintings, no burial mounds hinted at their existence. Only DNA revealed them, a ghost lineage hidden in plain sight. This discovery fractured the old narrative of Neanderthal extinction. For years, the story was linear. As modern humans entered Europe, Neanderthals either disappeared or interbred with them. But Thorin's DNA refused both fates. His group had neither vanished in the traditional sense nor merged into the Homo sapiens gene pool. They had endured in silence, genetically distinct, culturally invisible. And just like that, 1-2 rewrote an entire species' final chapter. It revealed that extinction, at least for Neanderthals, wasn't a single vanishing point. It was a scattering of separate endings, some visible, some forgotten, and some, like Thorin's, long buried beneath the silt of a southern French cave, a deep genetic silence. Thorin's genome did more than place him on a separate branch. It exposed the cost of isolation. When researchers mapped his DNA, they found long, unbroken stretches where both copies were identical. These runs of homozygosity pointed to something stark: inbreeding across generations within a population so small it could no longer maintain genetic diversity. It wasn't a one-time bottleneck. It was a slow-motion collapse, encoded into every cell. In population genetics, this pattern is the fingerprint of a community cut off from all others. With each generation, the gene pool shrank. Fewer ancestors meant fewer combinations. And while other Neanderthal groups carried traces of distant cousins, snippets of DNA from far-flung relatives, Thorin's lineage showed none. There were no signs of genetic refresh from outside contact, no evidence of mating with neighboring tribes, and crucially, no trace of Homo sapiens DNA. Elsewhere in Europe, late Neanderthals bear the marks of brief encounters with modern humans. Small segments of their genome show admixture, proof of contact, however fleeting, between the two species. But in Thorin's case, the results came back clean. 0. His DNA was unblended, sealed off from the very humans who were beginning to reshape the continent. That purity came at a price. Without external gene flow, Thorin's group became biologically fragile. A new disease, a sudden climate swing, a few lean winters, any of these could have spelled disaster for such a genetically vulnerable community. And in the end, it's likely that nothing dramatic ended their story, just the slow unraveling of a lineage that had quietly persisted, but could not adapt to a changing world. Other shadows in the DNA. Thorin's discovery raised an unsettling question. If one isolated Neanderthal lineage had gone unnoticed for 50,000 years, how many others had vanished without a trace? The answer may lie not in bones or tools, but in something far more ephemeral: sediment DNA. In 2022, researchers studying soil samples from Denisova Cave in Siberia, one of the most genetically diverse human fossil sites ever discovered, detected fragments of DNA belonging to an unknown archaic human population. These genetic signatures were unmistakably real, yet they left behind no skeletal remains, no artifacts, and no definitive cultural imprint. What made the find extraordinary was that, like Thorin's group, this population had remained genetically distinct and isolated, showing patterns of extreme inbreeding and evolutionary divergence. Their DNA mirrored the ghost-like qualities seen in Thorin's genome: long runs of homozygosity, lack of admixture with other hominins, and deep genetic roots disconnected from surrounding populations. But, unlike Thorin, their presence was detected purely through traces left in ancient soil, suggesting entire human lineages may have existed and vanished without ever leaving behind a single bone. This insight shattered the illusion that the archaeological record is even close to complete. Fossils may tell the story of those who endured in numbers, but DNA, the kind found in teeth or sediment, can whisper of those who lived in the margins, too few to build empires, yet genetically unique. It's now clear that Thorin was not an anomaly. He was a signal, a confirmation that human evolution is riddled with blind spots, and that our species' rise was shaped as much by the quiet disappearance of others as by our own survival. What it means for us. For decades, Neanderthal extinction was told as a simple arc, one species fading as another rose. But Thorin's genome, and the shadows of others like him reveal a more fragmented, fragile truth. Extinction wasn't a singular event. It was a mosaic of isolated endings and quiet survivals, scattered across the map and buried beneath time. Modern humans of non-African descent still carry traces of Neanderthal DNA, about 2% on average, but that legacy stems only from the groups that mingled with Homo sapiens during ancient migrations. Thorin's people left no such imprint. Their DNA, their language, their way of life, all vanished, except for what was locked inside a tooth, unearthed thousands of years later by a stroke of patience and science. This reframes not just Neanderthals, but ourselves. We're the result of surviving threads woven through a tapestry full of severed lines. The genomes we inherit tell only part of the story. The rest lies in the gaps, in the ghost lineages that never touched us, but still shaped the world we emerged from. And as DNA sequencing grows ever more precise, more of these silent chapters are likely to surface, reminding us that human history is deeper, messier, and more haunted than we ever imagined. A single tooth cracked open a forgotten world and revealed how much of our past remains hidden in silence. If this story reshaped how you see human history, subscribe for more. Share your thoughts below, because every comment, like, and voice helps bring lost chapters back to life.